Attention passionate Cleveland, BROWNSFANS. Latest news, something big is happening in the AFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Cleveland Browns' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Cleveland Browns fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Cleveland, BROWNSFANS. Let's get to the news. Alright, Browns fans, buckle up, because what I'm about to tell you could be one of the most intriguing developments of this NFL offseason. And honestly, it's got a lot of people talking across the league, especially here in Cleveland. We're witnessing what could be a game-changing move. Yes, I'm talking about Trey Lance potentially making his way to the Cleveland Browns. Now I know what some of you might be thinking. Trey Lance, isn't he the guy who's been riding the pine, bouncing around teams like the 49ers, Cowboys, and now the Chargers? Well, yes, but don't dismiss him too quickly. This kid, despite all the ups and downs, still has a ton of upside, and with the right environment, he could be exactly what the Browns need right now. Let's set the scene. The Browns, as you know, entered this offseason with a lot of question marks at the quarterback position. Deshaun Watson, our franchise guy, is sidelined for the entire season due to that Achilles injury he suffered last year. That leaves Cleveland in a really tricky spot. We've got a roster packed with talent, but when it comes to the most critical position, quarterback, we're kind of flying blind. Sure, we brought in Tyler "Snoop" Huntley, and he's been impressive in camp, joining Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Dylan Gabriel, and Shedeur Sanders. That's 5 quarterbacks for a team that's desperate for stability at the position. 5 quarterbacks, and still, the question remains, who's going to be the guy leading us to victory? Now, here's where the news gets interesting. During the Hall of Fame game, yes, that preseason opener, the buzz was all about Trey Lance. And why wouldn't it be? Lance looked really good out there. He looked comfortable, poised, and most importantly, he was putting the ball exactly where it needed to go. He threw for 120 yards on 13 completions out of 20 attempts, which is solid for a guy who's been trying to find his footing in the league. He also threw 2 touchdowns, and what really caught attention, no turnovers. That's huge. It's exactly the kind of performance that can turn heads, especially when you consider Lance's history. Now, let's be real, Lance's journey in the NFL has been anything but smooth. Coming out of college, he was highly touted as a top prospect, someone with immense potential. He was drafted 3rd overall by the 49ers in 2021, and expectations were sky high. But then injuries and the emergence of Brock Purdy, that 7th-round pick who led San Francisco to the NFC Championship game, complicated things for Lance. He struggled to find consistent playing time, and eventually, he was traded to the Dallas Cowboys, where he was mostly riding the bench behind Dak Prescott. Now he's with the Chargers, backing up Justin Herbert, still waiting for his chance to prove he can be a starter in this league. But here's the thing, despite setbacks, Lance still has that raw talent, that upside that makes teams like Cleveland sit up and take notice. He's young, only 24, and he's had the chance to learn under some of the best coaches in the league, Mike McCarthy in Dallas and Jim Harbaugh in San Francisco. Both are future Hall of Fame coaches, and their guidance could be just what Lance needs to rebuild his confidence and showcase the talent that made him a top 5 pick. And that's exactly why the Browns should be considering him seriously. Think about it. Since Deshaun Watson will miss the entire season, Cleveland needs a quarterback who can step in and at least give us a fighting chance. We've got 2 rookies, Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders, who are still unproven at this level. That's not to say they can't develop into starters someday, but right now, we can't just wait around hoping they'll figure it out. Joe Flacco and Tyler Huntley are veterans, yes, but neither has shown the consistency or upside to be long-term solutions. Adding Trey Lance, a guy with a high ceiling but who's still trying to find his footing, could be the perfect move for Cleveland. It's a low-risk, potentially high-reward situation. If Lance impresses in training camp and preseason, as he did in that Hall of Fame game, the Browns could have a true dark horse, someone who might just be capable of leading this team back to the playoffs. Remember, the Browns haven't made the postseason since 2023, and many fans are growing impatient. Kevin Stefanski, our head coach, has been under pressure to produce results, and if internal options don't pan out, he might not hesitate to make a bold move. Now, why is Trey Lance the perfect fit? Well, he's still young, and he's got that dual-threat ability that could add a new dimension to our offense. Plus, with the guidance of experienced coaches like Harbaugh and possibly McCarthy on the horizon, he could develop into the quarterback we envisioned when we drafted him. This season could be his redemption arc, and for Cleveland, it might be the opportunity to grab a talented player who's just waiting for the right environment to flourish. And let's not forget, the Browns are in a position where they don't have to worry about drafting a quarterback next year. If they acquire Lance now and he performs well, they could potentially avoid the need to spend a high pick again. That would be a huge advantage, allowing the team to focus on other areas, like our offensive line, defensive line, or secondary. We've got the pieces, we just need the right quarterback to put it all together. And Lance, with his arm talent and mobility, could be that guy. There's also a strategic aspect here. Both Lance and the Browns have nothing to lose this season. He's trying to remake his name, and Cleveland is desperately seeking stability at quarterback. If Lance can continue to impress in the preseason, it could open the door for him to compete for the starting job, or at least serve as a reliable backup who can step in if needed. The Browns' fan base has been through a lot over the past few years. Near misses, injuries, and uncertainty at the position. A move like this could inject some hope and excitement into the season, giving us a real shot at returning to the postseason after a couple of tough years. So looking ahead, what are the real implications? Well, if the Browns manage to land Trey Lance, it could be a turning point not only for this season but for the future of the franchise. It's about finding that spark, that potential game changer who can elevate the team when it matters most. And with the right coaching, a supportive environment, and a little bit of luck, Lance could be the answer to our quarterback puzzle. Now, I know some of you might be skeptical, and that's fair. We've seen promising prospects before who didn't live up to the hype. But in Cleveland, we're used to rooting for the underdog, for the players who show resilience, determination, and growth. Trey Lance still fits that mold. He's young, talented, and hungry, exactly what this team needs to reignite our hopes of contending again. So, Browns fans, as we watch training camp unfold and preseason games come and go, keep an eye on Trey Lance. If he continues to impress, if he shows the same poise and skill he demonstrated in that Hall of Fame game, the possibility of him wearing the orange and brown in the regular season becomes even more real. And if that happens, it might just be the move that propels us back into the postseason, and maybe, just maybe, back to the Super Bowl. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YOUTUBE algorithm to keep recommending the latest Cleveland Browns news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. And now, Cleveland Browns fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Are you excited about the possibility of Trey Lance wearing the Browns gear? Do you think he has what it takes to be our starting quarterback someday? Or do you believe we should stick with what we have and develop our rookies? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Browns. Remember, this is a passionate fan base, and your voice is what makes it special. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for all the latest Cleveland Browns news. This season is shaping up to be one of the most unpredictable and exciting in recent memory, and with moves like potentially adding Trey Lance, we might be on the verge of something truly special. So keep the faith, Browns fans, because the best is yet to come.